Hello, I'm Peter Towers, founder and managing director of ESS BIZTOOLS. Welcome to this discussion today where we're going to explore advisory services are important, but they need to be sold to accountants and bookkeepers. You cannot assume that your clients are automatically going to buy advisory services because the vast majority of SMEs do not really understand or appreciate the types of services that accountants and bookkeepers can supply to them. Because for far too long, the concentration by accounting firms and bookkeepers has been to advise on taxation-related services. So this is an important concept of looking at the relationship between accountants and your clients. This presentation today is on behalf of ESS BIZTOOLS and the Boss Factor Library. Trevor Marchant is unable to be with us today, the Managing Director of the Boss Factor Library, and sends his apologies. The Intuit QuickBooks SMB 2025 survey was a real eye-opener for accountants all over Australia. Intuit invited 500 SMEs from all parts of Australia to express their opinion on the types of services that were being supplied to them by their accountants. The full service option was described as the key strategic partner. And quite frankly, I believe that every accounting and bookkeeping firm in Australia should be aspiring to be endorsed by your clients as supplying the key strategic partner service. Intuit described key strategic partner service as they are a key partner in our business and our go-to professional for advice, and they are extremely valuable to our business's growth and success. The unfortunate part of this was that when Intuit conducted the survey of the 500 SMEs, only 15%, 75 firms out of 500, endorsed that their accountants were supplying the service to be rated as a key strategic partner. Only 15%. ESS BIZTOOLS has developed a range of advisory services to assist accountants and bookkeepers and business advisors to deliver advisory services which will assist your clients to survive and hopefully thrive in the very difficult economic conditions that all SMEs and accounting and bookkeeping firms are confronting at present. Trevor Marchant has commented that the shift to advisory services brings with it the requirement to continually develop and manage opportunities that do not happen every year. As a result, a consistent pipeline process supported with professional selling skills will be the key to driving successful revenue growth. Why professional selling skills? Trevor asks. It's simple, he says. Advisory services are not bought, they have to be sold by accountants. And when you think about it, all of our clients make something or develop something or write something, and then it has to be sold. So why do we think that accountants are any different? We also need to embrace the sales approach. So before starting a business is where I'd like to start in giving you an introduction to the services that ESS BIZTOOLS provide. Because I think it's that important that we should be encouraging people before they resign from their current employment to seek professional advice, to get your input as to what are the challenges that they are likely to confront in operating a business. The due diligence approach should start with suppliers or whoever they're going to get the bulk of their products from or services from, or patients or clients from. And what is the arrangement that those suppliers would want? So I'm mainly referring to a business that's having to buy product from people or the raw materials from somewhere else. What are the rules? MYOB conducted a survey about 2 years ago now, and the CEO of MYOB wrote an article that the Financial Review published. He indicated that MYOB had surveyed about 1,000 new subscribers that they had to their services, and they wanted to know how they performed in the first 12 months. And it was not all successful, because he reported that a significant number of those new businesses had assumed that their suppliers would welcome them with open arms and readily grant them 30-day payment terms. Whereas when they went to place their first order, they were welcomed, but they were asked to place the cash equivalent of the order they were placing immediately into the supplier's bank account. According to MYOB, a significant number of their new subscribers had not budgeted for that. They hadn't put it into their cash flow forecast. I don't know who prepared their cash flow forecast. I hope it was not an accountant, because that's part of our professional responsibilities, to make clients aware that suppliers might not be welcoming them with open arms and saying, yes, we'll give you 30-day payment terms, because unfortunately, a significant number of them found out they weren't. So the due diligence review that you would discuss with this would-be business operator, but a client, because they come to you for advice, is make sure you contact the suppliers, and whatever they tell you, you confirm it in writing to them and seek their acknowledgement. What about offering credit? According to MYOB, a significant number of these 1,000 new businesses also assumed that if anyone asked them for credit, they were legally obligated to supply credit terms. So that was incorrect. Another big problem that MYOB identified was that there was this non-familiarisation with debtor systems and how the debtors process works. There'd been an assumption made by these people that everyone would pay them on a 30-day basis. And we all know that that's not true. Australia has the reputation around the world as being one of the longest debtors payment societies in the top industrial countries at least. Although a survey was conducted about 4 years ago, which rated Australia as having the highest debtors days outstanding in the world, and that included input from 180 countries, according to the London-based organisation that organised that particular survey. So these people who had gone into business with an assumption that they would be paid in 30 days got a rude shock. I don't know exactly what their debtors days outstanding was, according to the MYOB report, but it was obviously significant because they hadn't budgeted for the average debtors days outstanding to have been significantly higher than 30 days. So what these problems created, and a few others, which we haven't got time to go through today, was that these new businesses started to have cash flow problems by around 6 months of trading. And those problems were multiplied because they hadn't been able to fund the payments to the tax office for GST, amounts owed, tax deducted from employees' wages, and they then had problems with the tax office. This is advice that I believe that accountants should be promoting, that you will advise people who are thinking about buying a business before they resign so that they can rethink their attitude. It might mean that they're better staying in paid employment for another 1 or 2 years and building up their cash reserves before they embark on their business journey, rather than getting into financial difficulties in the first 6 months because they never got the right advice and have not implemented the right planning. And a further complication to think about is that from 1 July, the superannuation payments have got to be made virtually at the same time as when their wages are paid. My suggestion is that you're encouraging your client to develop a file of how they're going to run their business. Who are their customers going to be? They could have a focus group by inviting some people in to meet with them. And now they should provide afternoon tea and some food to go with that, because people will be there volunteering their time. And get a group of 6 to 10 people and talk to them about the business they're proposing to operate. It happens for people who are developing new technology, taking their prototypes to a focus group to get their feedback. Would they buy it? At a focus group, they could also discuss their proposed prices for their products and get some comments and feedback. And also try to understand what's good and bad about their likely competitors in the marketplace from the people you've got in the focus group, who undoubtedly will be customers or former customers of those competitors that your client's going to be doing business against. It's all part of the getting ready process. We need to remember that a lot of people starting businesses have come from a secure job, but they may have just been operating in a very small part of that business they've been in. Might have been a large business, might have been a bank, might have been in the public service for a government, state or federal government. But they haven't had to worry about everything in the business. They suddenly take on running their own business. They have got at least 40 job descriptions, and we've summarised them within ESS BIZTOOLS starter package. Who's going to wear those hats? Who's responsible? Especially in that first vital 6-month period, the majority of those hats will be worn by the owner-operator of the business, or perhaps his wife or partner in the business. They need to get some mentoring and guidance on what these activities are. Dealing with suppliers, offering credit, making sure they've completed credit check processes, understanding what the debtors' days outstanding are, monitoring it at least on a monthly basis, checking the cash flow continually, and being conscious of where things are headed. At the end of this due diligence process, I'd be suggesting that you encourage your client to come back in with all their information, and you ask them, are they still keen to go into business? Have they learned things that have now discouraged them? And if they're wanting to proceed in business, you should then be saying, okay, we will now, based on the information you've done, work with you to develop a business plan and predictive accounting reports, budgets, key drivers, cash flow forecast, and projected balance sheets, so that you can set the client up on the right basis right from the beginning. Too many SMEs are failing. The Small Business Ombudsman's reported that well over 50% of small business in Australia, and there's 2 million of them, are in difficulties. There's a lot more that accountants can do to help those problems, especially with the new emerging people. And Robert Goblitson wrote a very interesting article in The Australian a couple of days ago, which I'd suggest should be mandatory reading for accountants, whereby he analysed the issues that are occurring because of AI introduction around Australia. And in particular, he was commenting on the sacking of 1,200 odd staff from Atlassian and what those people would do and what's going to happen over the next 3 years, where he thinks we're going to go through 4 major events relating to the introduction of AI. And one of his comments was there's going to be a lot of people looking for work and probably trying to start small businesses. Those people will really need advice because they've come out of big organizations where they definitely have not been involved in all aspects of running a business. And once you've helped the client with their business plan and their budgets and cash flow forecasts, the key thing then is to indicate to them that you will be working with them on a monthly basis and giving them a realistic proposal for you to be offering virtual chief financial officer services. Because that, in my opinion, is the only way that SMEs are going to be running effective businesses that are not struggling from day one because they didn't do enough research before they ventured into this area of running their own business. Might be their dream, but they need guidance to do it properly. Trevor Marchant from the Boss Factor Library has commented in the briefing notes he sent me, how to attract, convert and keep the right clients is very important for accountants. I've given you some idea of some of the work that you can do with people aspiring to go into business. But Trevor is saying that accountants have to be geared to sell services. And he and his wife, Eve, are 2 of Australia's most experienced salespeople. In fact, I don't know anyone else who is specialised in training accountants how to sell for the last 30-odd years in Australia, which Trevor and Eve have done. A good sales coach will help you improve conversion rates, raise average client value, shorten sales cycles, and discounting will be unnecessary. And I think we need to look at this. Many professionals, especially accountants, struggle with asking for the sale. It's not part of our nature, is it? But it is for most of our clients. They're having to give quotes and then ask for the sale. Why wouldn't we do the same thing? Talking about money. Well, we're supposed to be money men or women. So money discussions shouldn't be concerning us, but Trevor says it does concern us, or some of us. Handling objections. Sure, there will be objections. And you will have to talk the talk and clearly explain to your client what you're going to do for the services that you've just indicated to them. Might cost $10,000 or $20,000 for the year. We have subscribers charging $120,000 a year to offer CFO services and implement CFO services for their clients. Now, it obviously depends on the size of the client and what's going on in their business, what the level of services is going to be. But businesses need this input to help them run their businesses. And managing silence, Trevor says, is an issue that we need to be able to deal with. Sometimes the clients just will not make any comment. How do you deal with that? Well, Trevor Marchant will show you in the sales training courses that he conducts. So Trevor says there's a change in the air because we're talking more and more about advisory services. But he says a trap for accountants is to assume that advisory services are just going to flow into your office, or the clients wanting advisory services are just going to flow into your office along the same lines that taxation work has come into your office over the years. Because once a client's with an accountant, they tend to stay unless something really goes wrong. The taxation services, they come back every year. They're motivated to come back because they know the government will prosecute them if they don't prepare their tax returns and lodge the returns and then make the payments. Advisory services is different. This is a voluntary arrangement to your clients coming with you. There's no force being applied to them, which there is indirectly when it comes to the preparation of an annual set of accounts and a tax return. So Trevor's saying that we need to discuss this with the client and then present the overall picture to them. To provide clients the value they demand, remain relevant and expand, all signs point to the need to consult, especially in the business sustainability and growth-related offerings clients want right now, and in some cases they need right now. The shift to advisory services brings with it the requirement to continually develop and manage opportunities that do not necessarily happen every year like taxation does. Now, I think there'll be a lot of advisory services once you get it set up with your client that does happen every year, but some of the services will not reoccur. For argument's sake, within ESS BIZTOOLS, we've got detailed packages that assist you and detailed training to assist you to advise a client to utilise capital raising processes, early stage innovation company, which is ideal for smart young companies. Crowdsource funding, equity raising, ideal for companies with a turnover up to $25 million. They can raise $5 million in share capital, no loan repayments, no interest payments. They can raise $5 million in 12 months, and they can repeat it again the following year, as long as the market's prepared to invest with them and they go through the process, which involves receiving advice from a crowdsource funding intermediary. We've got full details of all that within our packages. So that's some of the one-off occurrences. It might be a research and development activity that's only going to be done once. You would have been involved in the capital raising process, the research and development, but it might not be repeated the following year. But hopefully the general day-to-day activities will still go on. The need for business planning, updating, predictive accounting reports, budgets, cash flows, etc. So what Trevor says is, because of this nature that does vary, we need to be promoting services of dealing with SMEs on a professional selling skills basis, because it's the key to driving successful revenue growth. This is the background to the simple statement: advisory services are not bought, they need to be sold. So the Boss Factor Library offers a range of publications which will assist. So you have 110 articles, small books on business-related matters, a wide summary of them. And Trevor and Eve are adding to those library books every year. But then you go into the coaching mentoring program for accountants. This is a specific program designed by Trevor and Eve based on their experience with dealing with accounting firms all over Australia. And the first one is the Sales Factor course for accountants. This is 12 modules where you, but other members of your team as well. Trevor tells me in some cases they've got 4 people from the one firm going through the Sales Factor course for accountants. And then we have the referral codes, a system that you can set up to make sure you're getting ongoing referrals, a lead generation system, the loyalty factor, and sales management. ESS BIZTOOLS has teamed up with the Boss Factor Library, and I've been working with Trevor Marchant for 25 years. We've teamed up to present a package of services that will help you get started on advisory services, and will also introduce you to the concept of selling those new advisory services to your clients and prospects in the marketplace. So the special promotional offer is that you will have access to the library that the Boss Factor Library has developed, and that is a subscription of $70 per month plus GST. And then you will have the coaching mentoring program for accountants, which will cost $1,200 plus GST per person per annum. That's persons enrolled in undertaking the sales training. Now, if you subscribe to both of these packages, ESS BizTools will give you 12 months access to the ESS BizTools Starter Package, which is the start of offering advisory services to get you started. So all you've got to do is go to www.essbiztools.com.au, click on Affiliate Packages, click on the Boss Factor Library, click on Subscribe to the Boss Factor Library Access, and then click on Subscribe to the Coaching Mentoring Program for Accountants. Once you've done that, you will receive an email from my company, ESS BizTools, within 24 hours, where we'll say, welcome. You're entitled to utilize for free for 12 months the ESS BizTools Starter Package. And you will be underway on this journey of introducing advisory services to your clients and learning from a sales expert how to sell those services to your clients and to your prospects. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or telephone me on 0418 190 181. I look forward to hearing from you and hopefully greeting you as a subscriber to our overall packages. Have a great day. Goodbye.